This is my lesson plan with a digital learning experience. We're looking at how can humans impact their environment and incorporating technology that will boost student creativity. I launched into both the ISTE standard of 7B, students use collaborative technologies to work with others, to examine issues and problems from multiple viewpoints, as well as the NGSS standard for middle school, apply scientific principles to design a method for monitoring and minimizing a human impact on the environment. So I'm working with the technology and the science standard together. The lesson, so basically what I have students do is start with a video to gain interest, and then they're developing different topics that they're going to dive into in research. And then they use Skype a Scientist to come in and be able to ask their questions to a professional. Skype a Scientist is a free program, but the one thing it does need is you to set it up ahead of time. So this is their website, and usually if you're going to try to do this, you need a couple weeks in advance notice. So you go up as a teacher, you sign up, and then you can go through and put in what time you're looking for, and they will try to find a scientist who has the same content that you're covering and that time available to meet with you. But it's pretty straightforward. You fill this all out, and usually you have a scientist that reaches out to you, and then you can work together to find the right time. The one thing to be careful with is you want to make sure to talk about what time zone you're in, because they work across the whole globe, so you could accidentally get paired with a scientist who is in a completely different time zone, and things can get a little tricky. But so this is Skype Scientist. You just use this Google form to fill out, and then it's going to give you help put you in contact with a scientist to make that connection. It's a great tool, and it gives the students lots of opportunities to talk to a professional. The other tool that I took advantage of is Padlet. If you don't know about Padlet, they have a bunch of different formats. Personally, I like using either the wall or Canvas or grid style, but you can use any. And what I like about the Padlet is when students post on it, they can edit and change and comment based off of how you set it up. So if they write their thing and another student comes on, they can put comments and questions, and they can move ideas around, which makes it really helpful for planning and kind of gathering ideas, which is how the Padlet is being used in this lesson plan. So for this lesson plan, the key thing is that students are building the knowledge themselves. You as a teacher are staying back, you're being a support, but you're letting them really build, which pulls a lot of that constructivist approach in. So we're talking about letting our students start with this high impact video and then moving into asking questions, doing some research using Chromebooks or whatever you have available to you, and then narrowing down their questions of what they really need to ask the professional to support them. They then take all of this information, and together they put it into a product. And their product is a presentation about their specific thing. They're talking about human impact. So my thought is that students could work, some might be talking about pollution, some might be looking at the effects of specifically acid rain, some could be talking about deforestation, and so on. So as many kind of groups as you need, you could break their topics up to be more specific or wider ranged, so it's easy to kind of group. But students will work together. They'll use the Padlet to compile their information. You might want a Padlet per group or maybe one per class, depending on your personal setup. That's the great thing about the Padlet, is it's very open-ended and you can transform it. And then you can use the Padlet for them to really organize those questions, because you only have so much time with your professional scientist, so you're using it to the best of your ability. So then students will wrap up, and they're going to use the Padlet again at the end after their presentations to leave feedback in real time, because I know in my classroom I never have quite enough time to have those conversations after presentations, but this way they can jot down questions for their peers and go back and forth and have that exchange. In the lesson plan, there's links to Skype Scientist, Padlet, and as well as the video that I found to launch this lesson. This is a great lesson. It's really easy to accommodate students with IEPs and 504s, as well as your high-flying students to have them ask higher questions and take on some of those more challenging situations. So this is kind of the base of my lesson plan. Another teacher can access through using the PDF, and then all the links in it are live. So you can go ahead and just click any of the links and they will take you to the tools that you would need. This would be a great kind of way to wrap up a human impact or an ecosystem unit. I'm using it to wrap up my ecosystem unit in my classroom to pull in that human impact piece. And it only takes about 4 to 5 days would be my suggested timeline. And I'm thinking of about 40-minute classes, 40, 45 minutes. So if you have longer classes, obviously adjust the day length. All right, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions or are interested in this.